Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. So, apparently, I had to reconnect and disconnect Twitch because it was being a pill, and if something is being annoying, one of the surefire ways to at least, troubleshoot it before you break out the big guns is disconnect and reconnect, right? I do that with my camera every single freaking time. I have to unplug it, replug it in, and then activate it and deactivate it and reactivate it on Twitch, and then it works. Every single freaking, not every time. Although half the time I don't, yeah, the the Yeti's not working. So, you know, so I disconnected and reconnected from Twitch. And yeah, that's fun. I was gonna start the stream before 2 o'clock. I was like, okay, I gotta start the I was watching Steamy Streamer, so you should go follow, by the way. I will put a shout out to him, and he is this deranged bisexual Irish lad, and I don't even know. Let me go and do that. So I was watching him play guitar, and um, is a little bit of an unhinged Irish lad, but hope that works. Yes, it does. They're playing Mario something. Okay. Um, all right. Ah. Okay. Boop. I yes. Okay. So now we're live. Yes, this is working. Yes, that is Steamy Streamer. I shouted him out. Bah. And okay. Now I have no. Mhm. Okay. So welcome to my stream. My name is Stillbly. As you will know, if you work with stream regularly, I have to go and do all the things. Um, don't switch. Yeah, do not switch that. Please tell me don't switch. Come on. Okay, yes, it's still working on ops. Scorch is being silly. Okay. Um. Um. What was I doing? Oh yes. So. I'm going to go to the voting live now and hit. Yes. All right. I was exhausted, and funny story about that. Boom. Okay. So our plan, such as it is to go and do whatchamajig. Yes, we are going to um we're gonna go and have a thing. We're gonna go searching. We're gonna go sailing on the seas of random stuff I have crewed over the years. Because you know what? That's what we're doing. You know what? Okay, so the company Akron Games that does Broncolonia just released a new thing, and I don't know if I actually have it yet. Uh, Let me check my um no downloads, and then go here. Oh, I also have to um. We do. I have it. So we're gonna do Halibut Town. It is. We're gonna. I have the English version. Yay. Okay. Excellent. Um, Cartoon Gangster RPG. I ran I am okay. Oh yes, I have to open this up so you can see the Cartoon Gangster RPG. Same way I can see the Cartoon Gangster RPG. Here, let me show you the cover art because cover art is cool. English Alex Valente is does the English translation. I don't know if it's the same guy. They got for to translate Broncolonia, but if it is, we're in for a treat. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a fun language. Fun. It sounds translated, but in like a fun way, like a got a little flavor to it, and I enjoy the way he works on that. So yeah. Let's see. Originally Prelude. Yes. The Rise of the Valkyrie. Ride of the Valkyrie. Yeah, those are the three English proofreading. Okay. Media and marketing, proofreading, graphic design, text, game design, illustrations. Probably Sean Dickinson did the cover art too, because dang, that's fun. Okay, sorry. Um, this is that's mad, folks. Okay, so this is a fun little concept, and I thought it was awesome. And it's just they're just shipping the I just got an email talking about how they're shipping the physical books. I'm not getting a physical book because uh um paying for shipping on stuff is um a lot, and uh yeah, I'm already getting something mysterious from that I yeah, I'm getting something mysterious from uh I'll share once it gets here. It is from overseas because they made me pay the customs tax on it. Which is I did pay, but I don't remember what it is. So I'm getting a mysterious package from overseas that I had to pay customs on. So we shall see what that mysterious package is. It's probably a Kickstarter because people who make cool stuff on Kickstarter come from all over the world, including these guys who come from Italy. So if I had bought, a copy of the physical, it would have had to be shipped from Italy. So I don't remember what it is. It'd be very cool if it was a Broncolonia, but they just got on the ship, so they wouldn't have been getting to customs. They haven't cleared customs yet, so I wouldn't have been getting an email on that one. So it's not a copy of Halibut Town, but it's something fun. And it's coming from mysteriously from overseas. I will do an unboxing stream when it gets here because I am curious about that. Um, yeah, I was super surprised to say you have a customs bill from a thing, and I'm like, I don't remember what I ordered from overseas, but we shall see what I get. So, um, apparently, whatever it is that I ordered is already paid for. It's just the customs I was responsible for. So whatever it is, I'll have to pay for it now. So that's fun because I have a lot of. I am very short money. This is one of those weeks where I don't have. I might have a few bucks of grocery money. If you guys don't send me Ko-Fi now, I granted I have plenty of groceries. I don't need anything. It's just I cut it very close. I'm cutting very close on my budget this week, and oh, um, bad decisions. Um, so, but I'm thriving and living, and I'm probably gonna get a Twitch payout before June because of how much you guys are supporting me and stuff. So don't even worry. I'm fine. Um, um, okay. So, um, yeah. So let's check this out. Um, um, yay. Okay. Gang's all here now. What? Okay. That's mad, folks. 1930s New York City. Town is one of the city's secret neighborhoods, wedged somewhere between Little Italy and the Bowery, inhabited by living cartoons. An unsettling crowd of lunatics, hyper colorful, liberally partaking of sex and gender, whose lives are potentially infinite and with one thing on their mind: fun, wacky, zany fun. Oh, right. My proposed one was there was a secret gender swap potion that a young person had become addicted to, and they were sneaking out of Talatown, and then got murdered. Sneaking into by the gender swap potion. Um, and there was a love triangle too. It was fun. I thought it was kind of fun. But who can resist, right? That is not how would I have. Uh, well, I guess if you're reading the first two, it's just pattern, but it just many around here call it Toyland, and they're not far off. A circus filled with wild rides, acid trips, perversions, alienation, anarchy, and super weird, pimped out weapons on a background of happy go lucky tunes and death. Anyone can be anything in Hell of a Town, and that's what everyone is after along its green avenues, its ultraviolet streets, liquid neon alleyways, complete and utter freedom from rules, from everything, from even from yourself. You can become anything you want and live your life doing anything you want. As an old neighborhood ballad goes, pick your poison. Everything is for sale in Hell of a Town. Anything can be bought. Sex, substances, freedom, expressions, experiences, delusions, vices of all kinds. Doors open 24/7. Only the dead know Hell of a Town. This is intended to be a narrative, rules light game designed to be enjoyed by both hardcore gamers and those who have never played a single RPG in their life. Tall order, but let's see. The lore borrows wholeheartedly from the vast lysergic vault of U.S. cartoons from the 1930s with a couple of space time liberties. Law and order isn't exactly one of the tenets of Hell of a Town. Um, I think that would probably be cop lowercase. I don't know. The game is an acid trip through Looney Tunes, early Mickey Mouse, Popeye, and Betty Boop, with sudden swerves into a world that is quite happily stole from those colorful worlds. From framed Roger Rabbit to Cool World, from Goon to Cupid Head. From the Goon to Cupid Head. Hell of a Town is homage full of heart and nostalgia to the mad genius of the medium, from Max Fleischer to Tex Avery, from Walt Disney to Sager, to wacky kaleidoscopes and the zany characters their minds brought to life. Crash, bang, oh. Like any free zone, Hell of a Town has its own set of rules based on survival of the fittest, cartoon logic, and the whole world spawned around both. Beware of the Anglo-Italian mob gang, the most powerful and dangerous group around, the Deco family, whose patriarch lives in a bunker brimming with cash. Flee from the ultraviolet vigilantes trying to control the streets, led by supervillain Jimmy Rat. Watch out for pink rabbits, um, crawling out of manholes to spring their sadistic traps on you. And most of all, get ready to stack up bucks, avoid deaths with the mob, and discover the secret ingredient that dictates all things, especially life, death, and everything in between. Ink. Yes, ink. Ooh, this sounds exciting. It sounds fun and zany, and I'm very excited to hear about it. Do it. I say cartoon. This is the fate picked, or maybe it's the fate picking on you. Oh right, we recently had in our Molly Fox got involuntarily turned into a cartoon fox one time. Um, because it was in Arcana Guide, they had a guide to playing tunes, and Molly Fox, um, Micah, who wasn't Molly. Sorry, we had two players. We had one player named Molly and one player who made a character named Molly. So we had Molly on either side of the divide. But Molly Fox was a lot of fun and just ran on Cartoon Logic and was lovely. A good time. So if I ever play Hell of a Town, I might ask Mike to come back and play Molly Fox because that would be fun. Um, as a cartoon, this is the fate you have picked. People who live here have a saying about it. We lost our innocence on the Rainbow Paddle Boat, and we're never looking back. And we've never looked back. Roads to nowhere and everywhere. Hell of a Town has a very clear topography visible on any New York City map, and yet no one can figure out how to get there. The real problem or fun is trying to get out of it once you're inside, because inside is where tune-based lunacy explodes in your face like a playful stick of dynamite. This place is hard to navigate. All the major landmarks are there, but sometimes they're not here. Not to say you won't always find what you need. Grim Gardens, the Quarter, to the quarter devoted to showbiz and gambling, hyper-industrial industrialized Shocktopia with its devilish contraptions, the dock area of Jellyfish Junction where fish people set their non-Euclidean rules. The neighborhood is constantly reinventing and upgrading itself to the point that everyone refers to it as a city by now. The real charm of Hell of a Town, though, it's not the, it's the non, it's non-authorized geographies. Everyone knows that if you get lost in the northern areas instead of Bowery, you end up in a rocky desert, where shapes and strange tunes chasing each other can be spotted along with their overcomplicated traps and falls in endless canyons in a tiny cloud of dust. Ah, so it has non-Euclidean geography. Always fun stuff. The math doesn't work out, but hey, you know. You need to use cartoon logic, which might mean red shoes. If you wear red shoes, I bet it would work. You could play with cartoon logic that way. Fun fact about that: in the book, they are silver shoes. Um, the movie adaptation decided to make them red because um, they are no right because it was the first time it was one of the first films done in color. Um, Technicolor had kind of just been invented, so they were like, we get to do this brand new medium. They want to make the shoes fancy and stick out, so they made them red. They were closer to silver sneakers in the books. This and much more awaits you in Hell of a Town, along with dancing skeletons, devil temptresses, living mocha pots, and satanic jingles slowly eroding your sanity. Ink will pour upon you like a new baptism. Are you ready to be reborn as a toon? How do you play Hell of a Town? And do you play Hell of a Town? Hell of a Town is a role-playing game that uses a proprietary game mechanic called Hell of a System, designed to spur the imagination and creativity of the players. The system aims to be rules light, easy to learn, and hard to forget. You just need 3 turns of the clock to learn everything you need for the game. Want to get some bucks on it? Alright. They're saying, bet, let's go. I'm excited about this. Hang on, let me actually cite the sources. Made in Italy, shared worldwide. Hell of a Town. They do Broncolonia, and Broncolonia is one of my favorites, so I am always gonna boom. And I will put it in the Discord too. For all you peeps who are new, we have 1 viewer, so I don't think. I probably because I didn't. I need to go in and tell other, find other places to say that I'm live. But what was I gonna say? Oh yes. I have a lot of people, friends who do. Um, oh yeah. Okay. Um, what was I gonna? Oh yes, I was going to put it on the. So I have the Discord, as you know. Where we put up links to stuff to do on a lot of things, but one of the things I put up is um, yee, um, every time I specify, oh, I saw this on stream. Oh, here's the Planewalker's Guide. Oh, here's this. Here's that. I always post a link if I can to in links to stuff to do on stream. Anytime we go and we find a thing, I'll put it up there so you can go and see how cool all this stuff is. Anytime I cite a friend or bring up something random, that I make sure to put a link up in the link section so everyone can see what I was talking about. Yes, so Hell of a Town, and it is exciting. I am so far. Sounds so fun so far. I was excited about this, and I remember I just got my. They mentioned that I got an email saying that the pallets, they updating everyone that the pallets were on their way to the U.S. Unfortunately, I don't get a physical copy, but
So what do you need to play? First thing, no matter if you're at a hot table on Dive or a Scam Inc. long distance visitors, you need to find an animator. Um, um, Person in charge of facilitating the game and narrating the world to and where your vivid stories are set. Then you need players who will take on the role of toons so you can start playing. Players usually work together in a gang, but that doesn't rule the possibility that one of you is sneaky little weasel playing for their own game. How many toons do you need to set the story off? No hard rules, but to aid the animator in keeping some of them and keeping some of their mental capacity, we recommend a number between 2 and 8, where 4 would be ideal. Each player will also need their own deck of poker cards or a special Hell of a Town deck favored by the henchmen of Grin Gardens. So we need a deck of cards. We need decks of cards. Okay. In case you're using a poker deck, the suits associated with a color and a stat you can see in the table below. Suits are important. They can influence the result of a draw if they match in the stat used for the challenge. By color, we refer to the 4 suit colors: green, red, yellow, and blue. When using the standard 2-color deck, red and black, where suits are paired by color, ignore the colors and focus solely on the suit. Each suit is assigned a different color. Okay. So, if you use... Oh, so if you're using their cards, the suits have different colors. If you're using a basic red and black deck, there's only 2 colors, but you just go with the suits. Okay. Touchy feely, handy loony. Alright, those are the stats. Sounds fun. Gang's all here. Now what? The animator describes a situation environment where the toons currently find themselves. When the story reaches a dangerous or risky moment or encounter, each player uses their card deck to overcome challenges in combat, which get in the way of narration. Players should try overcoming them in creative ways, using their toons' weak and strong points. Failure does not halt the story, but rather increases the stakes or generates an even more absurd development. Combat challenge against NPTs, non-player toons, NPTs. Opposing players known as Showdown. A challenge is a draw of cards triggered by a toon acting in a way that implies consequences, positive or negative, such as trying to open a safe, prepare a nitroglycerin concoction. Okay. Cool. So, in order to overcome a challenge, or showdown in Helvetoon, players must draw cards from their deck. The mechanic is constant throughout every draw. Player draws 2 cards from the deck, reveals them to the animator, and the player then sums the value of the cards, adds a numeric value of the relevant stat. Each draw is based on a stat, which associates with both the color and suit. If a card is pulled that matches the suit of the stat used for the draw, player add +1 to their total for each drawn matching the suit. So if you're trying to do something involving the touchy stat and you draw diamonds, you get to add a bonus for every diamond you draw. Sounds like it. Okay. And then if you were to do that and you would draw a 4 of clubs and a 3 of diamonds, you would get a 7 and a +1 for having diamonds, +2 if they were both diamonds, and then you would also get plus whatever your touchy stat is what I'm guessing. There's probably more rules to that. Final score must beat the difficulty set by the animator, resulting in a success. On a failure, the toon will have to face the music. The Hell of a System is designed with the idea that each player has their own deck of cards. If the toons are foolish to have forgotten the tools of the trade, however, the game can still be run on a single deck. The animator keeps hold of drawing cards for the players whenever needed. Note, this mode of play leads to the deck being shuffled more frequently, meaning that outcomes will be fairly different from each player having their own deck to draw from. Interesting. Furio wants his toon Pink Rabbit Splat to change the chainsaw into a Swiss chainsaw during a snowstorm so that he can reshape it into a pneumatic drill to hit the deco lackey and cause a really bad headache. Alright. Furio uses his Loony stat to draw his cards. The sheet says that Splat's Loony score is 3, and is associated with the color yellow and the suit of spades. Okay, so first scenario. Furio draws 7 of diamonds and 4 of clubs, which he adds his 3 in Loony for a total of 14. Yeah, that math works out. The difficulty set by the animator was 15, which makes the attempt a failure. The drill tip goes limp and rubbery, and the lackey is safe. For now. Scenario 2. Furio draws a 7 of spades and a 4 of clubs, to which he adds... 7 of spades and a 4 of clubs, to which he adds his 3 loony and a total of 14. One of the cards is spades, because that associates with loony stat. which means he gets to add a +1 for a total of 15, which means difficult to hit by the animator. Splat can start giggling manically as he drills down on the poor Ducko Lucky's head. Name's core mechanic, but result of draw can additionally influenced by Toon's tricks, the equipment they might use, and most importantly, by the use of raw ink. As for the value of cards, numbers are worth as written. Face cards and jokers are worth 10. Aces are always worth 1. When a player draws so aces are low. Aces low. Keep that in mind. I am trying to keep an eye on... Oh, hang on. Timsy. Okay. Okay. Tell you what. Why don't you end up on our Discord server? Make it easier. Join our server, and then we can connect. I don't know if I can go anything tomorrow. I would not be opposed to playing on stream, but tomorrow. But you want to come to my server? That's how we do. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so that's the value of the cards. Aces are low. Also, hi, welcome to the stream. I'm Lee. I don't know, I've never seen you before, but welcome on in. No fast moving, but that's okay. Cheers. No matter the situation, a challenge or showdown, players must first narrate their team's actions before drawing the cards, and use the result to narrate the outcome. Alright. Use cards that have been discard pile that are reshuffled in the deck only once the player's deck is depleted. I remind you, if you're sharing a deck, you share a discard pile. You're more than welcome to keep track of used cards. In fact, that might help you see what awaits your tune in the short term. So card counting is encouraged. Alright. I'm going. Sam's tune is Chico Black, a stoner alley cat from Grim Gardens. Chico needs to make his way across a ravine formed after an animated safe jumped off the top of a skyscraper to try to get underground faster. Okay. You know what? That tracks. For I live in town, that tracks. Chico wants to try spinning his tail like a helicopter to make it over, and so Sam needs to make a draw based on touchy, with medium difficulty. Sam draws the first 2 cards from the deck, 7 of spades, 5 of diamonds, plus a touchy score of 1, plus an extra 1 from the diamonds being associated with the suit touchy. Oh, you have a score of 1 and you're trying... Okay. Brave man. Okay. Barely fails difficulty 15, meaning Chico will get set off like a rocket halfway caught and then plunge to meet the safe in the sewers. Yep. Yeah, gonna get a cramp halfway through and fall. Showdown. A showdown in a moment of the game which tunes and NPTs clash. The ideal outcome of a showdown is to neutralize the NPTs, be it for survival, on a whim, or to steal some of their bucks. Showdown is divided into turns. Player always acts first, starting with the players on the left of the animators and proceeding clockwise, narrating the... Start with the player on the left and proceed clockwise, narrating the tune's actions. Okay. I mean, in Osric, you go in alphabetical... if you play Osric on Fantasy Grounds, you automatically go in alphabetical order. That's why I ended up with playing Ampersand, and they put a Z, apostrophe, Zampersand, to put me last because I was slow in the turn orders. They were like, you go last. And I could not figure out why the DM was so specifically putting a Z, and then I figured out we were going in alphabetical order. I was like, okay. During a turn, a tune player, the tune, player or not, can take any of the following actions in any order. However, skedaddling will end the turn. Attempt challenge, attempt an attack, skedaddle, use an item from their own pocket, use a trick. When an NPT attacks, however, it's up to the player tune to describe how they face it or avoid it. Tunes might choose not to resort to violence, and instead opt for threats, flattery, distractions, or anything that will not necessarily harm the NPT. All these actions require a challenge. Most tunes are aware of the impossibility of actually killing another tune, so attempt at diplomacy and subterfuge might be the best option, or at least the fastest way, to not lose a whole lot of bucks. That's true. You're probably just going to knock his lights out, and then they're going to come back in the morning. Like, I think... Well, okay, according to Roger Rabbit Canon, the only way to fully actually kill a tune is the dip. But, like, otherwise you're just splattering them into goop and um, or yeah, you're just splattering them or concussing them or something. You can get them knock their socks off and get them unconscious. You can run away, but that or steal all their stuff and then run away. But they will wake up and want to come back bite you in the ass. So creating cycles of violence that don't actually kill anyone, which is an interesting concept actually. Um, any toon has tried 4 tried and tested ways to attack during a showdown: throw hands, use their janky weapons, improvise weapons with scenery, including fellow toons, or rely on the loony nature of their being. Right, so 4 ways to attack. A player must embody and narrate their character's actions, describing how they strike at the target. The attack is resolved by drawing cards and adding their values, and the stat score plus any additional bonuses of any applicable trick. If the attack is made with a weapon, you must apply the relevant bonus and malleus of the weapon's description. Okay. Total must meet or beat the difficulty set by the animator. If so, the attack is successful and the toon lands a bonk on the target. I wonder if you could have fun with it. If you were doing PvP or even just wanted to have fun and give the NPTs a better chance, what you could do is do a draw off, couldn't you? And I'm sure, well, it depends on if the toons have any kind of armor class for avoiding the NPTs' attack. Well, the NPTs probably would have to draw to avoid their attack. And there are dungeon masters. There are systems where they say, well, the DM doesn't roll. To which I say bullshit. Honestly, like, Thirsty Sword Lesbian specifies that the NPCs do not get rolls. NPCs always get rolls. And then Anna has a whole thing where she has the players roll both attack and defense, so that as a DM she never has to roll anything. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds. I would never want to do that for myself. I want to be able to roll, and get. I mean, it's if you're having the players roll defense and you roll and attack, so you're basically just having them. It's the same theory. The numbers work the same. It's the same random chance. It's just you don't get to roll, which is kind of. It means you don't have to roll. So I guess it depends on if you like rolling the dice. Which, I mean, I'm running a TTRPG because I like rolling the dice. So, this toon character is a soprano, double-headed axe, attacking her opponent with an Italian air. Opponent, of course, is a hot dog mime defending his baguette collection. You see, this is lunacy. This happens. The animator tells Ada that difficulty is 10. She draws 2 cards, 3 of spades, 8 of clubs. She attacked with the Italian air, a light sound weapon. So she adds her touchy score to the draw. There are no other bonuses and no diamonds. The suit associated with touchy were drawn. The total is 13, which is a success. Ada's toon details the bonk to her opponent. Nausicaa's toon is a blonde tropical skull and is attacking the same hot dog mime with the same difficulty of 10. She draws her two cards, 2 of spades and a 4 of diamonds. Attacked with false lashes, a light fantastic weapon. So she adds her loony score 2 to the draw. That's 8. She also has a +1 for spades. That's 9. Which associated with loony. Total is 9, which means it does not hit the target. Okay. Student can choose to flee and remove themselves from the scene instead of attacking. That's the skedaddle. The only consequences are severe mocking and bullying from the rest of the gang, and not being able to participate in the scene at all. They will not gain bucks if the opponents are defeated, but they also will not lose their own. Character who skedaddles cannot help their allies and gain no advantages other than saving their skin. However, because they are not part of the combat scene, they can attempt other actions around it, such as stealing something or trying to move past the guards the rest of the gang is engaged with, for example. You try to run around from the back, set up for a sneak attack. I would let you go and try to drop a safe on the heads from up top. But you'd have to do that next turn. Like, you skedaddle, and then I would make it 2 turns. 1 to skedaddle, 1 to get into position, and then 2 to do the drop. That allows some ranged attacks, but not to the same turn as you doing the skedaddle. That's how I would adjudicate. Hi, Lady Winter, welcome. There is this very silly. Oh, hang on. It says you're a first-time chatter on my thing, which is I don't know if that's true. I think you've been to the stream before. Although I also had to reset the OBS because it was being stupid and wouldn't connect. So that might be it. But welcome. I have that is water, a hydrate or dihydrate, right? It's a very silly game. Well, welcome on in. Um, this is the very, very silly game called Hell of a Town, which basically is you role play as cartoons. Um, some of the really old school ones that the like Roadrunner and like Looney Tunes kind of, but also the old animations, Betty Boop, like the old school ones that have the where logic doesn't exist because you can just kind of do stuff. Um, it's a lot of fun, and it's a very grown up version of that, um, but very yeah, very grown up and hardcore. Um, but yeah, um, so basically, um, it runs on cartoon logic, and you can use playing cards to so you draw two cards and add them. You get a bonus if the suit matches the stat you're using. Then add your stat, and then and then the difficulty set by the animator, um, who's basically acting as GM. And so far, it sounds fun. These examples are just kind of out there, and you know what? I'm here for it. I am enjoying this immensely. It's silly. It's um, grown up and silly and just ridiculous and freaking. It is just ridiculous nonsense. Um, Okay. Can choose to remove themselves from the scene. Use an item. A toon engaged in showdown can use an item for or one hand or hand one over to a toon in the gang also engaged in the showdown. Efficio has a dose of raw green ink, but has no useful way of applying it to the scene. Giselo, however, would find it useful. On Giselo's turn, his toon, a mandolin cord made of tungsten, asks for a dose of the ink from Efficio's toon and uses it to best uses it to best a group of were clams. Ada's toon also has a dose of raw green ink, but is not currently in the scene. After skedaddling, she cannot help her allies. She's that double-headed axe they mentioned in the last example. Also, the guys who wrote this Acheron Games are an Italian company, and they do a lot of fun that's not serious stuff. So they do a lot of very fun, kind of dark but irreverent, and this kind of dark humor. Um, this place is rife with gang violence and drugs and sex, but also it maybe even bordering on 18 plus topic actually. Now that I think on it, but if I ever played it on stream, I probably would make it 18 plus the way I did when we did Cyberpunk. But it's also completely silly in tone, which is uh very similar to Grunkalonia, and I kind of enjoy that. Yeah, plus because no one can actually permanently get hurt, it kind of adds an area of like a low stakes silliness to it. Um, I mean, you can get hurt, but because cartoons um cannot like really be undone, you'll get the worst you're gonna be is knocked out for a while. Like you can peel yourself, like they'll flatten you or something, and then steal all your stuff and run away, and you'll just peel yourself back up like Tom or Jerry would. And um, yeah. Um, then, after all players have had their turn, um, yeah, that's a translational. So it's translated from Italian, and I would say after all the play. As a native speaker, I would say after all the players, but after all players, it's technically correct. I just would have done all the players. Um, I've had their turn. It's the animator's turn. The NPTs now get to act. Those are the non-player toons. Each character tunes. Each player's tune needs to defend themselves by using the same mechanic they use to attack. The animator does not have a deck of cards. They only narrate the scene and actions, and they set the difficulty for the draw. See, it's the same thing as frickin' Anna B. Meyer, who is shout out like one of the coolest. I use her maps. She runs Greyhawk, a very different game than this. She runs basically a system that she modified herself. She started with 5e and just modded the hell out of it. And one of the things she did was she had players roll defense rolls, and it to when NPCs would attack them, and attack rolls when they attacked. And I said the same thing. It's like, why would you not give yourself the chance to draw? Like, now granted, it does make it slightly fairer or because if you can't fudge the roll or fudge the draw, but there's a lot of joy to be had in rolling. I think, and I always ignore, and I almost always ignore anytime a sim says, "Oh no, the players do all the rolling." I'm like, no, I want to as a DM, I want to roll too. Um, so I would probably run it if I were running it. Probably run it that the NTPs get to draw as well, rather than just setting a difficulty level for the players to draw their defense. That's just me though. Um, um, Players must describe how they face against the incoming attack. For example, they might try to slip away on a banana peel, or they might cross their arms to stand their ground, or they might stun the opponent with loud words, or they might rely on their loony nature to deform the bodies to avoid an attack. They draw their cards and add the relevant stat score and any applicable bonuses to beat the difficulty as set by the animator. If any of the tunes have chosen to skedaddle, they are too far away from the senior hand, and the animator's NPCs will not consider them as targets during showdown. They'll get to them later once these pesky tunes are dealt with. Ooh, another example. Shello's tune is defending itself against a flamenco dancing anteater who is attacking with a gun that shoots goatfish. Okay. The animator sets the difficulty for defense against it at 15. Jello decides that his tune pulls out a bed frame from his pocket to use as his shield. Okay. Loony +1. So it's a Loony based draw. Card drawn are 8. 8 of clubs, 6 of hearts, for a total of 15. Yeah, because +1. His stat is +1. His Loony stat is +1. So, total of 15. Successfully avoids getting fish slapped. Yeah, oh, that's why they did that. Ending a showdown. A showdown can end in a number of ways. Get out of dodge. The characters pull out of the encounter. If they all skedaddle, that's how it goes. That's what happened with the actually my most recent game, which is a 5e game, not this, but all of the enemies did actually just run away. My computer is being silly and heating up more than usual. You ain't seen the last of me. The enemy pulls out an encounter, so whoever runs. Total KO. The characters take so much bonking that they all end up knocked out and owe a debt to the enemy. Yeah, they take all their stuff, then yeah, they get all their stuff stolen, and the enemy walks away, and they wake up later trying to put themselves back together. Sometimes literally, and they're left with none of their stuff and a grudge. Victory! The city's ours. The enemy is defeated and knocked out. Birds flying around their head. The tunes are free to grab as many bucks as they can. Additionally, the enemy might accrue a debt toward the tunes at their discretion. When the going gets tough, characters might choose to leave the scene entirely. When all the tunes flee from the showdown, combat ends, and the opponent can either chase them down or attempt a diplomatic solution, with an associated debt, of course. Some NPTs might choose to let the tunes go, as they clearly won the fight anyway. Tunes never die, and even if they do, they'd come back as ghosts, so there'd be no need to be mean. There's no need to be mean. You ain't seen the last of me. If cornered with no means of winning, opponent might choose to flee. Combat ends, and the same outcome as above takes place, except the roles inverted. Let's get out of dodge. That is in favor of the player's tunes. Not all opponents are willing to fight and lose all their bucks. Some might just try to strike a deal with the tunes or try scattering away from the showdown entirely. Total KO. Tunes might be defeated in combat. When this happens, all tunes collapse to the ground with birdies circling their heads. They lose all their bucks and owe a debt to the captor. Indebted tunes are marked with their creditor's logo until the debt is extinguished. And known from out of town as big fatted debtors. That's B tier cartoon stuff. Tunes are effectively considered minions of the winner, meaning the latter will usually leave them a few bucks for pocket money and eat to the debt. The tunes are now linked to the NPT and their faction until the debt is extinguished. Debts effectively generates more missions and situations the tunes deal with. Interesting. So if you knock someone out, you can stamp them with. Oh, that's interesting. And you make them make them pay it off somehow. Interesting. They owe you a favor or something to make it go away. How much do they owe you is interesting. Okay. Um, all teams participating in the showdown get equal share of their opponent's bucks. They may also choose to become creditors, forcing vanquished NPCs to become their reluctant ally, force a favor out. Yeah, that's fun. It's fun. Challenge is any moment. Challenge at any moment during a game in which toons, even a single toon, have to overcome an obstacle in a way that requires some effort, or have to avoid a negative environmental effect. A challenge plays out just like the showdown. Draw 2 cards, turn the values to stats to scored for the draw. Unlike the showdown, no tricks can be applied. I feel like we're going to get to tricks later. Players describe how the toon overcomes the obstacle and then draws their cards. Each toon can use a different strategy or approach, making the most of their strengths or weaknesses. Depending on the approach, then they add their relevant stat score to the values of the 2 cards drawn. Giselo wants to open Ancient Jar of Mayan Beans, chained closed with locks the shape of flaming skulls. I wouldn't, but okay. Instead, he uses Toon's physical strength, so he will add the touchy score to 2 cards drawn, as well as any suit-related bonuses. Hedda's Toon, on the other hand, is more skilled with lockpicking, so she chooses to use Handy as base stat. A Toon can make the dose can use a dose of raw ink to overcome a challenge. See Saturation Ink and U. So if the player draws an extra card revealing their hand, if so, the player draws an extra card revealing their hand. If 2 cards match in number, color, or face, the ink's negative consequences, tuning out, does not apply. Being tuned out means drawing 1 fewer cards on the next challenge or showdown. Oh, so you can basically borrow a card from your next draw and draw 3 to try and get this, but then you have to draw 1 on your next one, and that's tricky unless you get a double. Okay. If the player meets or beats the difficulty set by the animator, the challenge is overcome. Failure does not just mean being successful in overcoming the obstacle, but can also lead to loss of failure. Oh, yes. Bucks or items see the degrees of success. Okay. Alright, so yeah, you can have other negative consequences. Group challenge. If more than one toon wants to take on the same challenge with the same approach, they can do so. To overcome the obstacle, at least half the toons attempting the challenge must succeed. Okay. So if one tries and fails, the next one succeeds. That's half. If 2 fail, then 2 of them have to succeed in order to get it done. Since you're going one at a time, that tracks. Okay. A negative environmental effect that acts upon the toons at the same time does not count as group challenge. Okay. The obstacles that toon must face and overcome are represented by numeric values. A challenge or showdown are considered successful when the players meet or beat the value with the draw. In a showdown, difficulty can also be affected by elements outside the fight itself. Fighting a narrow or dark spot under the influence of something can increase or decrease the difficulty. The animator can set any difficulty level they deem appropriate to the situation, including numbers not shown on the table below. Okay. So, basic is 10. If it's intermediate, 15. High is 20. Madness is 25. This is two in a deck of card where aces are low, but face cards are all 10. So, the highest you're going to get on raw cards alone is 20. So figure, but there are more cards that are 10 than any other number, so it evens out, sort of. So that skews the average toward the high side, but, and you also, since each player hypothetically has their own deck, and even if they don't, everyone sees all the cards, so you can be card counting and doing the math in your head of what the odds are, the way they do in blackjack. That's encouraged even. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So if everyone's drawn like they're like 5 queens in the past 10 draws, you're and a couple other face cards as well. You're probably not, or 4 queens because there are only 4 in the deck. Yeah, but if there are 6 face cards drawn in the last 10 draws, that's probably a lower value draw than you're gonna get a lower value, for example. Um, but if you've already drawn all your twos, and 3 of your aces, that's a pretty good indication that your average is probably gonna be higher, depending on the luck. But yes, that's how that works. That's how card counting works. All right, so essentially, oh right, so madness means you need to have a maximum draw and 5 +5 from other sources, or more than +5. And if you get the most you're gonna get on a 2 card draw is +2, unless you're pulling, I guess, ink, in which case you get 3. Even still though, 20 on 3 is pretty high, and you would need, yeah, you'd have to get 25 on 3 is still exceptionally high. It depends on what other bonuses you have. So the most you're going to get in bonuses, so the most you're going to get is 22, possibly 20, possibly 33, but that's still playing dangerous because you have to take consequences on the next draw. Um, Consequences, right. Um, okay. Um, okay. Alright. Yeah, so madness is very, very tricky to attempt. Degrees of success. Both successes and failures can draw change depending on the result compared to the difficulty. A degree of success can replenish resources, while higher failures can consume them. It also aids in setting up um, alternative narrative developments. 15 points or more than difficulty. Doing success is so great that it goes to their head. The tune can gain extra bucks if the scene allows it, and is no longer tuned out if applicable. I feel like if you're tuned out, there's no way you're getting a 15 plus, because assuming the difficulty is super easy, like 5, with 1 card, even if it's a 10, if your bonus is, even if you stack your bonuses, getting 15 more than the challenge level, which is probably at least 10. Well, anyway. Impressive. 10 plus points more than the difficulty. Team will be able to boast about their success next time they are at the bar. Can draw an extra card and discard any card during the next draw. Ooh, best 2 out of 3. So you basically get sort of advantage. Great success on the next draw. Great success, 5 points or more. Toon does well enough to get an extra boost. The Toon recovers 1 bonk. I'm guessing bonk is sort of like HP. Touchy House Mother, I am. Hi, welcome on in. I don't buy viewers, I'm telling you this now. So you're barking up the wrong tree here. I don't know if you're a bot or a paid shill, but you're free to stay and watch. Just know you're not gonna get anything useful out of it. Alright. Barely a failure is 5 points or more below the, at least 5 points. The Toon's failure is a little embarrassing. Loses 5 bucks to a pothole. If the Toon has fewer than 5 bucks, they lose all of them. So, if you're more than 5 points below, you lose a little bit of money. Okay. Or a failure. Toon falls so badly that their shame is ashamed of them and whacks them with a mallet. Take 1 bonk. The Toon also suddenly craves a hit of something or a stiff drink at the player's discretion. Okay. Monumental failure. 15 points below than difficulty. So that's if you attempt something that's madness level and you only get a 10. You get less than 10. Which, Toon fails so abysmally that their photo appears next to them, the definition of the word failure. The Toon becomes tuned out and draws 1 fewer card on the next showdown or challenge. Additionally, a new negative element appears in the scene, a new opponent, a different obstacle, a nosy passerby, at the animator's discretion. So if you have 15 points or more below, then you get to add extra trickiness to their side. That's fun. Sorry, I'm been blech. Okay, what is ink? Ink's what colors the tune. No one really knows where the raw stuff comes from, but everyone knows it makes you feel great, meaning everyone in Hellatown would like some, please and thank you. Of course, it can only be attained by unofficial means, or stealing it from someone else. Using it also causes a form of addiction, which spells a variety of negative consequences. Raw ink has a very limited temporary effect, both positive and negative. Consuming ink makes a tune light up in vivid colors for a short burst. Colors cannot be hidden or removed, meaning that anyone will be able to tell that a tune has imbibed some. Raw ink can be found in 4 colors associated with each tune stat. Using it grants 1 additional card during a draw in a challenge, attack, or defense action during a showdown. During a showdown, additionally, raw ink can also restore 3 bunks to the tune imbibing it. After using some raw ink, the tune is tuned out. At the start of the next showdown or challenge, that tune's player will draw 1 card instead of 2. So not the next draw during the challenge, but after. Interesting. Next showdown. Okay. It's possible to avoid this nasty effect if, among the 3 cards revealed in this challenge, 2 of them share the same number, the same color, or the same face. Same suit, if you're using a standard deck. If the tune maker makes use of another dose of raw ink while top tuned out, the card effect is negated and applied again on the next showdown or challenge. Ooh, okay, so you can kind of coast on the consequences. I might have more negative effects, like if you do that too many times. During a challenge, Gisela makes his tune, currently with 2 bonks, take a dose of raw ink. The character draws 3 cards instead of 2, beats the difficulty, and its bonks are restored, and then checks their draw. 3 of clubs, 6 of diamonds, and 2 of clubs. Since there are 2 clubs cards, the tune does not become tuned out and can continue to use their advantage without trouble, aside from a slightly more vibrant complexion. Interesting. The matching suit is a lot easier than matching numbers, I will say. Pure ink is a specific special type of refined ink that contains all 4 colors in highly saturated swirl. Consuming pure ink allows a tune to increase their stats or gain a new trick. Pure ink is incredibly rare, incredibly expensive, and almost impossible to find. Our suggestion is that the animator allow the tunes to come across it when it makes sense to them to advance. So this is the kind of thing you get a level up from. Pure ink could gift from a boss after a particularly well done job, or could be taken as payment for debt owed by an NPT, or could be the MacGuffin of a heist part of the adventure. Tune can have a maximum of 4 tricks. Each stack can also not be increased by more than 4 points. Okay. Luna Satana has found a dose of pure ink and wants to add it to her Feely stat. She marks the relevant box on her sheet, and the feeling increases permanently by 1 point. Billy Mucachino spends it on a trick instead. He marks the relevant box on his sheet and chooses a new trick to add to his sheet. Optional rules for when tunes ink divulge just a little too much. That's fun. This is an optional rule to be used at a player's and animator's discretion. A tune can overcome the maximum limit for pure ink, 4 uses per color, with a single pure ink assigned to a single stat. However, the tune will immediately fall under the influence of such powerful substance. Negative effects are connected to their colors and associated stats. Alright, so yeah, so you can get 1 stat over 4. You can get increase 1 stat by 5 in new level up. However, there are negatives. So to avoid the negative effects during a showdown or challenge, the tune must consume a dose of raw ink. Raw ink consumed this way does not grant an extra card for the current draw, but still makes the character tuned out for the next draw. So yeah, you can't actually get a bonus if you do that. Oh, I see. So there's every time you want to do oh, so every time you want to draw on that stat, you have a less draw. No tune would ever dare consider going over the limit, not intentionally, but we also won't. There's possible that an PT or other tune slips some extra dose of pure ink or shoots it down their gullet with a snow blowing machine. Okay. If a tune takes too much green ink associated with touchy stat, they feel slow and cumbersome, their size augmented so much that their movements are impaired. Each time the tune starts a showdown or uses touchy for a challenge, the player halves the value of the first card they draw, rounded up. Additionally, if the card is diamonds, they don't gain the usual +1 to the draw. Interesting. If a tune takes too much red ink associated with the Feely stat, they clam up, becoming paranoid and bothersome for the other tunes. Each time the tune starts a showdown or uses Feely for a challenge, the player reveals the first card from their deck, hands it to another player of their choice currently taking part in the scene. The player keeps the card in front of them and adds value to their next draw. Ooh, interesting. If a student takes too much blue ink associated with the handy stat, they start forgetting things, especially how common items and tools work. Each time the student starts a showdown or uses handy for challenge, the player draws 4 cards and discards the 2 highest ones. Interesting. If a student takes too much yellow ink associated with the loony stat, they lose their marbles and their actions no longer make sense. Each time a tune starts a showdown or uses handy for a challenge, uses handy for a challenge, not loony. Handy. Okay. Player chooses a random card from their deck and reveals it to the table. If the suit is hearts, clubs, or diamonds, other players subtract half of the revealed stat card's value rounded up from their next draw. If the suit is spades, the other players subtract the revealed full value from their draw. It's very likely that a tune may regret their actions and want to remove excess ink from their body. The process is actually super easy. For low cost, SCAM Labs offers a medical steamrolling process that will squeeze them back into shape, mostly. The process does extract all the excess ink, but also causes a tune to lose 1 pure ink per stat and a bill of $500. Ooh, alright. Okay. Interesting. Okay, and then this is how to draw up adventures. Um, 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 yes. Um, yes. So just let the players do whatever. Okay. Um, yes. Yeah. Um, interesting. Okay. So yeah, that is very interesting. I am going to end the stream now because I've been really tired lately and I need extra time, but I wanted to stream a little bit and this is very cool. So I think we will definitely play Helican. Not tomorrow on stream, but definitely at some point. Maybe I'll run it for Concoction in May and we'll see how it goes. I think that could be very fun. Okay. Thank you all for coming to the stream. I appreciate it. Um, yeah. Thank you all for coming. We are going to, I'm going to sign off and, we'll raid into somebody. Um, Sable. Alright, yeah, we'll raid to Sable because Sable's going on soon. Alright, everyone come along to Sable's channel. Thank you for hanging out with me. We are on our way. Take care of yourself. If you need sleep, sleep. If you need, make sure you hydrate. Food is important. I know it's Ramadan, but, get the food when it's sunset. Alright? Take care of yourselves. Boom.